This historic event is now mere moments away. Obviously, this is something that has been talked about and waited for a long time, and it is now very, very close to actually occurring. The weather just absolutely fabulous, and we have, frankly, my friends, kind of lucked out on this one because there's a weather system right on the coast. We floated with fog this morning, but you really could not have a better view and better weather for this historic event, the last moments of the Kingdome. Dan and Kathy, back to you.
Steve, thank you. As we get so close now, let's just tell you what's going to happen here over the next couple of minutes. As we've mentioned, we'll hear the blast at 2 minutes and then another blast at 1 minute. Then there's going to be a countdown from 10 till about 6 seconds. And you know what happens then is the man who's giving the countdown, the project supervisor, has to get away from the countdown so he can just check to make sure, as he's listening to people who are contacting him, to make sure that everything is okay as they close right in on the final detonation point.
Now let me tell you what you're going to see when the actual detonation happens, because as we've mentioned several times, we have 4 cameras right inside the dome. Now these are disposable cameras. We do not expect them to survive, but the cable from those cameras runs inside a PVC pipe that is expected to survive at least the beginning of the implosion. The signal from those cameras will be sent to a satellite truck, which will then be beaming the pictures to us and to you. Now, so what you'll see when the very first implosion happens is a couple of seconds from inside one of those 4 cameras. We have one pointed straight up at the dome. We have them in several areas around the dome, and then we'll be taking you outside for a vantage point so you can really get a good look at what happens from a wider shot.
Right, we want to give you that wide shot outside, and we'll stay on that one camera for the implosion as it happens after we give you the brief look inside. And then we have so many other cameras that we will be able to show you on videotape, because we are, in fact, going to be on the air for about an hour and a half after the implosion, so we will be showing you many replays, probably till you get to the point where you might be a little tired of it, but we want to make sure we give you every camera angle possible, and to make sure that you get some time to look at it and, if we can say, enjoy it.
It is history in the making here in Seattle as the Kingdome, 24 years old, comes crumbling to the ground, as we have mentioned. It will not be flattened. The people that are running the implosion, their job is to basically get the dome down. Some of the outside walls will remain standing, and then the bulldozer crews will move in and knock those down. And what we hear now is the 2-way radio transmission from the actual implosion site, which will give the final go ahead, the final button to be pushed, and that's the audio that you're hearing as we count down in the final minute here.
So you will definitely be able to hear that countdown as it closes in. It sounds, we might want to just listen. I have not heard the siren for the 2-minute warning yet. However, that's possible we would miss it with these headsets on. We are showing just 1 minute before 8:30, so we will hear the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 countdown, so we'll know exactly when it's going to happen. So stick with us here. It's about to happen. The Kingdome, which has had 73 million people cross through its turnstiles, is about to become history. It's about to become rubble. A lot of people didn't want it built in the first place. As we look at some of the camera vantage points that we'll be showing you, we are told that the sirens have not sounded. There's one. That could be the first one. We'll wait and see, but we are getting very close, and we're showing you just some of the angles that we have with the cameras, dozens of them, focused in on that grand building right now.
And as you look out over Elliott Bay, the thousands of boats that have gathered, people gathered on hilltops, on bridges, as we hear the final crew call go for the implosion. Let's listen in as they get ready for the last blast of the Kingdome. We'll now sit and watch as it happens.
Jason, are you clear? Clear. Kevin, are you clear? Clear. Jamie, are you clear? Clear. Bill, are you clear? Clear. Cass, are you clear? Yeah. Stacy, are you clear? Clear. Mark, are you clear? Clear. This is your 1 minute siren, CDI. This is your 1 minute siren.
Now just less than 1 minute away, as you heard the crews making the final safety checks, making sure everyone is clear.
The blasting machine
There are 5,500 holes drilled in that building right now. Most of them are filled with explosives. We will see a ring of lightning effect go around the top of the Kingdome. We, of course, will pause and let you watch and enjoy as it happens, but we're taking you up now to the final 30 seconds as the Kingdome and people around the world are literally watching this live right now. A dramatic event in Seattle's history.
Seattle says goodbye to the Kingdome, and so do we.
Here we go, CDI, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Fire.
Right now what we're watching is a tremendous cloud of dust and debris move up through the downtown Seattle area. As the Kingdome comes down, we hear the demolition experts saying beautiful right now. A cloud of debris continues to move up through the downtown Seattle area past Union Station.
We could literally feel the earth move when the Kingdome blew. We are probably a mile away with a perfect vantage point, but it did rattle the ground. Of course, we did know that they were planning seismic experiments to find out exactly what they could learn as the earth shook, and it indeed did. They said it would probably be about a register 1 on the old Richter scale, which they don't use anymore, but we could definitely feel the magnitude of that blast.
And now we begin to understand why those seismographs that have been placed all around the Seattle area in many locations will prove to be so critical in figuring out what will happen to Seattle during an earthquake, because the earth did move, the buildings shook. We're looking right now at a live picture on that area of 2nd and Jackson, and you can see a lot of folks getting the brunt of that dust cloud right now, because it was a tremendous force that just blasted that dust, which is moving in a northerly direction right now. A lot of folks may be being coated with dust who didn't anticipate it, because they thought that the dust might be going in a different direction. But as we sit up from our vantage point, just look at that cloud of dust and debris. 100,000 tons of Kingdome just came down in a flash, and now you're watching the aftermath as we wait for some of that dust to settle to see what's left of the Kingdome. Right now, all you see is a lot of folks throughout the downtown area headed north are getting coated right now with dust as it continues to move north and sort of in an easterly, northeasterly direction.
The dust actually obscured the view of the Kingdome coming down. You could see about 10 seconds. You could see, of course, the detonation on the roof. You could see the building begin to collapse, and then that dust, the pressure of the air that came from the outside, from inside out of the Kingdome, to just spread this dust all over the city. And it is true, one of the things that we are anticipating now is to see what it will look like when the dust clears, to see how much of that building is still standing. And as we have told you, they said maybe we would see 60 to 70 feet high of debris, maybe some of the walls, although I saw walls collapse. There's no doubt about that as the blast went off, the last blast at the Kingdome.
Well, not only will we see what's left of the Kingdome, but also any damage that may have been done. And I'm not certain, but that crane down there on the left-hand portion of your screen looked to have moved some during the actual implosion. I'm not sure if it fell down a little bit, but again, one of the reasons that we're going to be staying on the air for the next hour and a half or so is to follow up and look at the repercussions. We've certainly felt the concussive blast of this, the force of this blast, but now the repercussions of what may have happened. We knew that some windows were going to be broken, but look at that crane. I don't think it was in that position right before the implosion.
almost looks like it might be resting on the side of that building, although we can't tell at this point. It doesn't appear to have done any great damage at this point, but again, we will assess what has happened, because we did know that there could be a little bit of damage, certainly windows being broken, and we will get some of those reports, and we will begin to show you some replays of the Kingdome implosion here in a second as well.
We can tell you that the people in charge of the demolition, the initial word that we're getting is that it went extremely well, that they are very happy that it was successful. But now we just wait for that enormous dust cloud to dissipate as we take you now to one of those cameras that was inside the dome. We're able to turn it around and show you what it looked like inside when the actual implosion happened. Let's roll that video right now.
And then apparently the camera was damaged, and we knew that would happen. There were 4 cameras inside the Kingdome that to give us different looks at it, and we'll check the other ones as well. And we can tell you that we did anticipate losing the 4 cameras inside. That one went rather quickly. We'll check the other ones to see if we can see a little bit longer from the inside what was happening.
And now the cloud of dust continues to dissipate, although it's still headed sort of north through downtown and a little bit east toward the direction of Capitol Hill, but not quite. But again, most of the north area from the Kingdome is covered right now as we look out.
Now, Kathy, we do have a look down toward the dome, and we're able to see some of the dust clearing and some of the debris, and you can tell that, yes, indeed, the job was done. We thought that we might see up to 70 feet standing, some of the walls, and maybe we will see more of that as the dust clears. But you can see as our first look at the debris, at the aftermath of the implosion, it did quite a destructive job as it was intended to do.
Pretty hard to believe that just moments ago the Kingdome was standing, and now look at what's left as we gaze in. Those were the arches of the dome right there, those arches covered in black. As we look now at the rubble and some of the workers start to move in to see what's left and what will have to be done next as this cloud continues to dissipate, though still cover much of downtown Seattle.
And that is what is left of 24 years of memories for people who attended many, many events inside the Kingdome, whether it was to see Billy Graham, who packed the place with more than 74,000 people, whether it was the Sounders, maybe Pele when he played there, the great Ken Griffey Jr., Paul McCartney, of course, was in the Dome, the Rolling Stones. There were truck and tractor pulls, and there were all sorts of events. And now, as we look back at the Kingdome, we see nothing but rubble and dust.
And as we wait for that dust to settle, you begin to get a clearer picture of what remains. Let's take one more look at the implosion as it happened just a couple of minutes ago, and then we'll take you back to look at what's left. Now, as you see that tremendous cloud of dust, and hear the demolition experts talk about what they describe as beautiful.
There's all different ways to describe what we saw. For them, that was funny to hear them say beautiful.
Yeah,
it was quite a sight.
Not a real picture of beauty there right now. Well, let's take you down right into the middle of all of that. Como's Keith Eldridge, he was probably closer than anyone. He's got his glasses and mask on, understandably. Keith, what was that like?
I'll tell you, you have never experienced anything like this as far as Mount St. Helens, you know, when that went off and the cloud dust went over all in western Washington. It's exactly what happened here. That cloud dust came at us at such a force. It was incredible. There was no way for anybody to run out of the way. I had barely had enough time to put on a mask and goggles. Even though there was very little wind, the force of the blast sent the cloud at us so quick. People here just all of a sudden turned and they ran. But they came back. We still can't see the Kingdome from here, and we're only 2 blocks away. Everybody here is covered in dust. but they're still excited about it. So despite the fact that I've got the protection, I've got the goggles, they're sort of breathing in everything.
Yeah.
You survived, huh?
Yeah, I survived. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think we were going to get out alive, man.
It was cool.
It was getting all dark.
Thought there was going to be an earthquake or something.
All right, well, they're breathing in all kinds of dust and waiting for the view to return here so we can see what happened there. But when that dust came at us, it was incredible to see it just piling right straight at us. We couldn't get out of the way even if we wanted to.
Oh, the drama of it all. Listen to the people. They're lucky to be alive.
Well, and you can understand why, because you could see the force of the blast just, you know, go right up through the streets, and
Sure
Keith
could.
is awfully close. Though he can't see what's left, we can see from up here that it's pretty incredible. We thought that perhaps maybe some of the walls would have remained standing, but as you can see, most of the walls, it appears, have come down. And take a look at what's left of the Kingdome.
This is quite a sight for us to have been sitting here for the last couple of hours with the Kingdome standing and looking at it and knowing what was going to happen, and of course to have it have been standing in this city for 24 years and in about 18 seconds to see what happened to that building. This was one of the most well-built, one of the most solid buildings ever put up in the world, we were told by the people who demolished it, and they said this would have been one of their toughest jobs ever to bring it down, but bring it down they did.
You heard Keith describe what it was like just 2 blocks away. Let's take a look now live at a replay of the implosion from his vantage point. Here's what it looked and felt like.
And for them, here comes the dust. But we now see what's really weird is where Kathy and I right now, we can see what you're looking at, but we cannot see downtown Seattle. It is completely obscured from our vantage point right now by an absolutely huge dust cloud. And as Kathy was just kind of pointing out to me, you see the cloud there. We can kind of taste that dust right here just a little bit. We didn't get a lot of it, but we can tell it's in the air.
And now look down live from Air 4 at the picture of what's left of the Kingdome. And we can tell you that the dome apparently fell right within its footprint. That was one of the things they were concerned about, one of the efforts that was being made to make sure that nothing fell out. And as you can see, as a true implosion, everything pretty much fell inside the dome's footprint, which was what they were hoping. Everything except the dust. 110,000 tons of Kingdome is now rubble.
Well, as they had told us what they had planned, what's amazing is we look at this picture right here. They showed us a graphic about 3 weeks ago, and it looked almost exactly like this. You can see the roof of the dome fell straight down and in. And what they had told us for several weeks, too, is that their job was to weaken the dome and let it do what it really wanted to do. Let gravity take its place, let gravity take force, and just fall on in. And that's exactly what happened. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is what's left of Seattle's Kingdome.
As the dust cloud moves north right now, Safeco Field, we can tell you, was left pretty much intact. Here's the graphic that you were mentioning, Dan.
It is remarkable. This is the graphic, the picture that they showed us. This is what they had hoped it would look like. And then we can show you again. There it is, an almost identical picture as the Kingdome has indeed come crumbling down.
Right now, we do want to take you live to Safeco Field. You can see this shot, how Safeco Field is pretty much out of the dust cloud as it moved north, and Safeco is to the south. Let's take you inside Safeco Field right now. Steve Poole, I bet you still taste a little bit of that dust down there, Steve. Connie.
We don't really taste it as much as we thought we would because
That's
it's flowing
true.
more toward you. But what a view from here. It was quite amazing to even feel every single explosion.
You could. That's one of the amazing things is that you did feel that. But Connie, I thought what was interesting is as the building was coming down and there was so much discussion about the seismic effects of all of it, you really didn't feel that much as the building came down. It was just sort of this low rumble, but you didn't really feel that much.
Although we can see now, if we want to let you see some of the implications of those rumbles, because a lot of that debris in the street, what was an empty street, is now dumpsters and other parts of what was near the Kingdome out in the middle of the street, if you can see that. And notice, Steve, how people are already, these are all construction people that are going in now to do the work they need to do at this point.
Yeah, and Connie, I think this really gives you a sense of it. What's been almost eerie to watch here is as all of the dust began to clear, because certainly right at the point that it came down, the big dust cloud, you really couldn't see in there just how effective this whole job was. But when you see it like this, and sort of you see the Smith Tower in the background and there at King Street Station just sort of eerily coming out of all of the dust, when you contemplate all of that, you can see just how much this building was absolutely flattened by what has occurred here.
And what
it's
a
truly
statement
an amazing
of
thing.
Engineering, both going up and bringing it down as it is today.
So much so. It's been an incredible situation, and now we continue to have the dust drifting off to the north at this point. And you know, at the time, I got to tell you, guys, that when that dust was coming in this direction, Connie and I were like, okay, we're ready. Fortunately, these were not needed. As close as we were, they weren't needed. So
we do need to tell you what's happening right now, because it's not all over. What you see is over, but right now, engineers are dispersing throughout the city to make sure that your sewer lines and your water lines, a lot of the roads you're going to be driving on, are okay. There have been equipment and tests done prior to the explosion, and now after the explosion on the West Seattle Viaduct, the Alaska Way Viaduct by us, and over on the other side of us as I-90 comes into 4th Avenue, to make sure that nothing happened on those bridges, because we were very close and we could feel the ground shake.
Yeah, we could feel that a little bit, sure.
So your utilities right now are being inspected to make sure that those of you very close to the implosion area don't suffer any disruptions in service and any problem like that. So there's still going to be a lot of busy people here for quite a while.
Yeah, and one final weather note here. We've obviously got a drift here that's going to carry this dust cloud right up through downtown, and certainly that's something that you know, could affect traffic and so on right in the city here. But Connie, we're going to continue to see that slow drift off to the north, and this cloud will dissipate fairly rapidly, I think, and it'll be a memory, one that which obviously we're going to document an awful lot for you this morning. So if you're just joining us, you're going to get to see the whole thing over and over again from a whole lot of different angles.
Certainly something amazing to watch. And by the way, Dan and Kathy, we haven't seen a single rat.
Not one.
There was a lot of talk that as they brought the building down, the rats would scamper and scurry around, but people were saying that so much demolition work had been done at the Kingdome that they're long gone now.
Well, and if they weren't before, they are now, because thank you very much, Connie and Steve. We want to show you what Connie and Steve saw with one of our replay cameras from Safeco Field. As we take a quick break, we'll show you the implosion one more time. Don't go away, because we're checking on the aftermath, the repercussions of what we saw here just a few moments ago.
Free to move about the country.
Dachshund Toyota.
Dachshund is Toyota.
Dachshund Toyota in Auburn.
Service, selection, value.
Dachshund, Auburn.
In just the recent fights,